Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and welcome to my seminar presentation. My name is Nordayana Alam Binti Ramli. My matrix number is 2018698. I am studying in Kuliah of Languages and Management in the International Islamic University, Malaysia. Now, about the research paper, the title of the paper is Age-Related Difference in Conversational Discourse Abilities. The year that this paper has been published is in the year 2019, and the journal that includes this paper is in the Journal of Dementia and Neuropsychology, Volume 13, Issue 1. And the following are the authors and the DOI link of the paper. Now, what is exactly conversational discourse? Conversational discourse defined in this paper is communication between two or more people where they share their thoughts and ideas and feelings through a cooperative interaction. The implementation of conversational discourse thus is one of the most complex cognitive skills that humans can learn, as it involves a variety of cognitive processes which includes attention and episodic memory. So, this paper aims to examine the differences or the variations in conversational discourse abilities between different age groups. The researchers have conducted a comparative study to explore how people's conversational skills change as they grow older. By comparing the performances of individuals in different age groups, this paper aims to identify any age-related differences in conversational discourse abilities. The following are the research questions and research objective of this paper. As for the research question that this paper aims to answer throughout the research, it is whether the impaired communicative behaviors are specifically towards the older generation in the community, or is it simply more frequent in the older generation compared to the younger generation. And the research objective of this paper aims to compare the younger and the older adults for the frequency of impaired communicative behaviors on their conversational discourse tasks. In order to gain better understanding from previous literatures and researchers that has done research on topics related to age-related differences and its relationship with conversational discourse abilities, let us look into the literature review of this paper. In summary, there are existing research that has mentioned the effects of age-related differences and how it impacts towards the communication behavior of the individual. As you can see, according to Wingfield and Thun, 2001, age-related impairments may affect language comprehension skills and consequently memory encoding. Kemper, 1987, who studies on age-related decline in syntactic processing, he also hypothesized in his paper that decrease in syntactic complexity, such as subordinating clauses and coordinating phrases, may be because the impairments in working memory or general cognitive slowing of the individual. There is also past literature that talks about the effects of aging on cognitive processes, which may lead to age-related differences in performance for discourse activities, especially in conversational discourse. Now, let us move on to the research methodology of this research paper. For the sample of the study, the data used in this investigation was drawn from two other larger studies that has analyzed the conversational discourse task of their participants. And after some elimination of participants that did not fit the criteria for the sample for this current study, it resulted in the final number of 95 participants consist of 54 young adults and 41 older adults. For the evaluation, the participants were evaluated using the conversational discourse task from the Montreal Communication Evaluation Battery, which was using the complementary procedure of conversational discourse analysis, also known as CPCDA. The data that has been collected will then be further analyzed using MANCOVA, which is the multivariate analysis of covariance, and also the chi-square test to compare the frequency of the communicative behaviors from the groups, which is the younger adults and also the older adults. After the data was analyzed, these are the following results and findings of this research paper. Uh, it was found that lower frequencies were shown by the young adults for their impairments in expression, pragmatics, cohesion, coherence, comprehension, and emotional prosody compared to the older adults. It is also found that the older adults showed higher frequencies of verbal initiative and had fewer word finding difficulties compared to the younger adults. Finally, it is also discovered that both groups appear to have similar frequencies in their communicative behaviors associated with planning and self-monitoring. For example, in their repetition of information and syllabic false starts, both groups have similar frequencies. Based on these findings, this paper has discovered several inferences. Firstly, findings have shown that there is a similar frequency in the communicative behaviors that are associated with planning and self-monitoring. And this may be because these communicative behaviors are a normal part of speech regardless of the individual's age. As we can see that, for example, the repetition and abnormal word sequencing are used as a way to emphasize ideas. So both age groups have done these communicative behaviors throughout their evaluation, which concluded in why they had similar frequencies, because they tried to emphasize their ideas while they are doing their conversational discourse task. Furthermore, it is also inferred that age-related differences is not significant in conversational discourse abilities, as both younger adults and older adults have shown to have their own communicative strengths and weaknesses. As you can observe, the younger adults in this study showed less conversational engagement compared to the older participants. The younger adults tend to produce fewer words and have trouble finding words, but were more coherent compared to the older participants. The older adults, on the other hand, had a more tangential and less accurate information, but they had more conversational engagement with their examiner. This is because, based on past literature, younger adults tend to not easily share their personal information with strangers, and the older adults tend to relate in a conversation by including their personal experience. In conclusion, this research paper has discovered an interesting profile of communication behaviors among healthy individuals regardless of their age. And it is suggested by this paper to emphasize assessments that implement conversational discourse, because it is found that it would help in evaluating communicative profiles. And because of that as well, this procedure is also suggested to be replicated in clinical populations, such as among the individuals that has neurological impairments, through their screening measures, because as mentioned before, it could help evaluate their communicative profiles. And with that, thank you for listening to my seminar presentation. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.